What's up, nerds? It's MTG, man. Sick again, because fuck my life. I'm always sick. YouTube doesn't pay me because my channel is too small, so I can't just buy all the soup in the world to get better. So, like, fuck that. But, Amalia Benavides Aguirre? I don't know. I'm not the best with pronunciations. I took French. Okay. French has its weird, um, its own pronunciations, and I'm assuming the conquistador vampires have some sort of Spanish take on their names. Definitely an expensive deck, $800. This is my personal collection stuff. Everything in this deck I own, so I already have it together right now. And her ability's cool, so you get her to 20 power, and then she wipes the board, which is cool and all. What we're really doing this for, it's because she's fine. Alright, that's the secret to a good commander. They have to be fine. Alright, you know me. You know where I'm at. You know I have, my little pet project, Pretty Boy Tribal. You know how I feel on this, all right? Fineness is what makes a commander, and that's all that's important. So, yeah. Anywho, getting in the creatures, it's like a life gain vampire tribal kind of deck. As for Sentinel, of course, every white deck needs it. Indulgent Aristocrat for the vampire stuff, Soul Warden for life, Archivist for drawing and life, Blood Artist for the life. It's a vampire. Cordial Vampire will pump up your vampires. Creeping Bloodsucker is a vampire, gains you life. Same with Cruel Celebrant. A lot of vampires end up gaining you life, so there's no point to go over them individually sometimes. Dauthi Voidwalker, just for the free spell. Serene Steward will help you get up those +1/+1 counters so that you'll be able to get Amalia to 20 faster. Tithe Drinker, Vampire, Life. Vizcapa Guild Mage, just gains you life, which is cool. Cabal for the life. So, like, it's the multiple instances of life gain. So, like, in a turn cycle, this might trigger 4 or 5 times, and at that point, she's just going to keep getting bigger. You're going to keep exploring. Loris, so you can cast her from the graveyard. Much easier than paying commander tax. It's going to be good. Marauding Blight Priest, it's a vampire. It triggers with life gain. Always going to be good. Same with Vito. Drana, mostly for being a vampire, but she can do, like, a lot of cool things. If your opponent has things that you can, like, take abilities from. Roaming Throne, so you choose a creature type, vampire, and it'll double up the activated abilities. So it'll double up Amalia, it'll double up Blood Artist, it'll double up Vito. It'll do a lot for the deck. Sanctum Seeker. So I don't know if it's individual instances or one instance. Like, if you attack with 5 vampires, I don't know if you gain 5, they lose 5, or if it's you gain 1, they lose 1, which would then trigger Amalia 5 times. I don't know which one it is, but either way, you're going to be gaining life. It's going to be good. No reason not to. Sangromancer gains you life. It's a vampire. Champion of Dusk is going to help you keep your hand full. Always going to be important. Malakir Blood Witch. So each opponent loses equal in the number of vampires you control. So it's kind of a win con. You also gain a lot of life from it. So there's reasons to use it. You're going to be gaining so much life. Marshland Bloodcaster is a vampire, so that's cool and all. But being able to pay for your spells with life is always going to be pretty useful. Especially because some of the cards in here get pretty costly. Crossway Troublemaker is giving things, your vampire's lifelink is going to be good, especially when they're blocking, because a lot of times this deck isn't super attack heavy, but being able to block and gain that life is going to be good, and it'll also help you by drawing you cards. Felidar Sovereign just wins you the game. This is an easy out if you can get to it. Nirkana Revenant, being able to more or less double up your mana for swamps is pretty good. And she could also technically win a game if you get her big enough. Rudolph Dustbringer, so gaining life gives it indestructible. That's cool. It's a vampire, which is cool. Has lifelink, so you're gonna be gaining life with it. And then at the beginning of your end step, you can pay 1 and white black and return a creature with mana value X or less from your graveyard, where X is the amount of life you gained. As long as you have that way to gain life, even if it's just like Sanctum Seeker getting you 2 or 3 life, you're going to be able to bring back, reanimate, whatever you want. Um, Chrome Mox for mana, Zurin Orb. If you're in a dire state, you could sacrifice your lands. It's not always the best option, but the 2 times I have this deck, I've built this deck, I've played this deck, the 2 times I've played it so far, in one game, I was able to get out Zurin Orb, sacrifice my entire land base, and then just win with Amalia. So it has its place. All right, that was a 1v1 game, so that's a little bit different, but it has a place. Basilisk Collar for the Death Touch and Lifelink. Lifelink's just going to be good wherever it is. And there's no time when it's bad to have Death Touch. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Lightning Greaves to protect Amalia, Orzhov Signet, Bantu's Monuments, you'll be gaining that life. And there's so many black creatures in the deck that'll become cheaper. Herald's Horn to make your vampires cost less and help get them in your hand. Pristine Talisman is a bad mana rock. I wouldn't recommend playing it. However, it's just one more life you can gain each turn, so it doesn't really hurt the deck. Urza's Incubator, you say Vampire. Your vampires cost 2 less. If you notice, there's a lot of vampires that would benefit from costing 2 less. So it's always going to be good. There's ways to get it out. Well of Lost Dreams to help you gain life. Vanquisher's Banner. It's it's good. Your vampires will draw you new cards, which you kind of need in a deck like this. Bolus's Citadel. Um, uh, just being able to pay your life to cast things is always going to be good. Okay, so while recording, I was thinking about it, and being able to gain life 3 times, or like through life, being able to gain life with Shieldred would be really good. So I threw it in the deck. It brings it up to like $900. Um, but yeah, um, Dark Ritual. It's a staple for black decks. Malakir Rebirth to bring back cards you need. Mana Tithe. It's a counter spell. It's always going to be good. March of Wretched Sorrow. It gains you life. It can destroy a creature or planeswalker you need to get rid of. Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares. They Shall Know No Fear can give your vampires indestructible, which can be really good, especially when you have a funny little Amalia here who's going to destroy all other creatures. But oh, what's this? I just gave them all indestructible. How terrible. Teferi's Protection, it's a white staple. Why not? Unearth can bring back Amalia because she's 3 or less. It can bring back Veto. It can bring back pieces you need. Grim Tutor, of course, staple for black decks. It can help you get out a combo. Beseech the Mirror. I would generally, the one time I did get to this, I played Roaming Throne, and I was able to double up triggers, which was pretty good. Essence Pulse, so this one is problematic because if you somehow do give your creatures indestructible, it'll kill them anyway. It'll also kill your opponent's indestructible creatures. Theoretically, Amalia is going to be bigger than however much life you gained, so she should survive. It's just an extra board wipe option, and it has to do with gaining life, so I thought it would work. Um, Olivia's Wrath is a board wipe that will not hit your vampires, so it's pretty good. Kindred Dominance will bring back all the vampires. No, it won't. I'm thinking of Patriarch's Bidding. That's my bad. Kindred Dominance will destroy all non-vampires. Um, Blind Obedience is just another way to gain life with the Extort ability, and it'll slow down your opponents a bit. The creatures doesn't always matter, but the artifacts will. Meat Hook Massacre, so when a creature an opponent controls dies, I gain a life. That's just going to be really good. You always want to be gaining life. It's a board wipe. It kind of does a little bit of everything. Black Market Connection, so drawing is going to be good. Um, and yeah, it gives you a lot of options. The shapeshifters are vampires, so you'll get benefit from that. It'll create mana. It does a lot. Light of Promise, just to, if you want to get to Amalia faster, if you want to just bump up one of your creatures, it's an option. Smothering Tithe for treasure. You always want more mana. It's never gonna hurt. Campaign of Vengeance. Again, I don't. So whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. I think it's multiple triggers. So if we attack with 5 creatures, we gain 1, they lose 1 5 times. So Amalia should trigger 5 times. Um, so yeah, so that's pretty good. Sanguine Bond and Exquisite Blood go together. They're an infinite combo, along with Exquisite Blood going infinite with like Veto and Marauding Blight Priest, all that stuff. It's just a solid option and another way for you to win the game. Blight Climb Passageway, Cabal Coffers, Caves of Koilos, Iganjo, Godless Shrine, High Market just for more life gain, Marsh Flats, Minas Tirith for draw, Nesting Grounds. So what you could do is if you have some better way to control your life gain, you could have Nesting Grounds out and pay the 1 to remove a counter from Amalia to bring her back to 19, and then gain 1 life, explore, bring her back up to 20, and you could just go back and forth and like destroy the board essentially. I only put 8 planes in the deck. If you look at the color breakdown, there's only 24 in the mana cost of white, so I just put 1 in. Restless Fortress. So when it attacks, you gain life, which is good, and it's just a solid white-black land. 15 swamps because we have the Cabal Coffers and because there's the Revenant. So you're going to be wanting to have enough swamps. Takenuma to bring back a creature, and then Witch's Clinic will give Amalia lifelink, which is pretty solid. If we were just do like a little test hand here, I wouldn't keep a 4-land. Well, okay, we keep the 4-lander. I think we'd go like Swamp into Indulgent Aristocrat, into turn 2, Plains, into Amalia, into turn 3. I think it's too early. I think we'd play Marsh Flats, tap it, lose 1 life, shuffle, search, I just take a swamp, move that to hand, shuffle, boop. So we play that swamp, go for Blood Artist, go for, I guess a Plains, Drana and Linvala. I think maybe, and I noticed this while playing the deck too, it doesn't always gain enough life, so maybe I need to find more life gain sources, because unless you start your hand with a repeatable life gain source, it's not always possible for you to get that. So I guess like this, we go like turn 1, Dark Ritual into Veto, into turn 2, probably tapped the other side of Malakir Rebirth, into turn 3, Basilisk Collar. Now we have a Death Touch lifelink blocker, and I think like the deck doesn't always play how you want it to play. I've played 2 games. The one was a 1v1, and I absolutely crushed. All right, and the other game was a regular 4-player pot of Commander, and I got her out. I think I got her to like 10 or so, then she got removed, and my game plan was more or less over. Unfortunately, when she wipes the board, she hits your stuff as well, which actually really hurts your game plan because you're relying on creatures a lot to gain you life. I guess maybe more artifacts or enchantments that could gain life, something like I think it's Fountain of Youth, Fountain of Vigor. It's at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life, just so you have that repeatable life gain. Something like that really wouldn't hurt the deck, and I think there's probably just more life gain. I just didn't really have that much in my collection. Like, sure, I have almost 6,000 cards, but there are cards I wish I had that I don't have. There are cards I have where it's like, I have this because I use it to teach new players how to play the game. Like, we just like scroll all the way down. There's no way I'm usually playing Steward of Valorant, right? sure, it might work in certain decks. I usually use it in I'm building a pre-con level deck to teach somebody new how to play. Or, you know, like there's cards I have that bump up the price of my collection but really don't do all that much for the power level of my collection. Um, Maybe even something like Drana's Emissary might work for the deck, just being able to gain that extra life. It's just hard to get multiple instances that'll work, so that you're able to get her up to 20. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's a commander you want to see. If you want to see more personal collection decks, they're generally going to be maybe like a little bit higher powered. Because I can't fit a a $30 Sliver Legion into a $50 deck. I mean, I could, but the deck probably wouldn't work that well, right? So it's an option for me to show off higher power decks, or if you just want to see like decks in general, like just build something. If you want to see a commander, let me know. Sometimes it feels like I'm talking to a wall, because I mean, in some senses I am, but it's like I put out videos, they get likes sometimes, they get views sometimes, and that's cool. I really appreciate you all being here. Um, but I don't know. I think I thirst for engagement. Anywho, you all have a nice day. This has been MTG Man signing off, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Cue outro music.